What's going on, guys? Dan Watson, and I wanted to do this video because I have kind of gotten on Canon before, especially in regards to the 4K video thing on many of their cameras, and I all the time get some pretty neat cameras in, like Sony A7SII Mark II, and these are very, very advanced, great cameras and amazing performance. Now, I shoot weddings, and every so often I have to shoot one solo, and this weekend was another one of them. And so when I have to do that, I keep coming back to Canon, and I just kind of wanted to make this video because as much as I say, oh, they need to have this, I need to have this, I need to have this, when it comes to usability, they're still one of the best on the market today, especially if you have to solo shoot a wedding or an event. And I'm going to tell you why. And actually, the biggest reason has nothing to do with Canon. The reason is Sigma. This is really the only reason that I still use Canon cameras ever, and it has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with this body. It is all to do with the lenses that I have available, because no camera kit is complete without everything working together. And so here is why. Canon has many things going for it. The image quality right out of the camera, skin tones look great. If you're shooting weddings, a lot of what you're shooting is skin tones. If you're trying to do something run and gun style, you don't have a lot of time, you're not setting up anything complicated. One of the nice things about Canon as well is they have an autofocus system that just works. In camera, you tap on the face, it tracks amazingly well. They have this in the 7D Mark II, the Canon D4, 5D4, and the 80D. Now the 80D, one of the nice things about it is it does have a flip out screen, which is really easy to use. And if you have to run on gun with this camera, I don't normally set this up on my tripods in the back, but for the camera that I have on with me on a monopod that I'm using for my quick shooting, this is such an amazing camera because it has all of that available. And so I can just tap on them, autofocus. Usually I tap off autofocus once I've focused on them, but it allows me to get my shot. Most of the time when I turn on the camera, before I'm ready to hit record, it has focused on my subject. Those couple of seconds save me from missing shots on a ceremony. Again, especially if you're running gun style, this is a camera on your body, especially if you're a single shooter. Now, one of the limitations of these is that they're not that great in low light. A lot of people are moving to other cameras like the Sony, things of that nature. Now, this is where Sigma comes in, and another big time saver. 18 to 35 f1.8 zoom. This takes me from 24 millimeters basically up to just past 50, I believe. So this is the 50 to 100 millimeter f2 zoom. So this takes me from right around 80 something millimeters to about 160 millimeters. This setup right here basically has me covered for an entire wedding. Two lenses. I'm not always worrying about changing lenses out. I can take one, go with it, and I know that if I need to change out to go wider, I only have to go with one. I can get super shallow depth of field because I'm literally shooting everything at f1.8, f2, which on an APS-C camera is great. If you're using a Micro Four Thirds camera like what I'm shooting this with, which is a Panasonic G7, and that camera I would have to use like wider than 1.4, 1.2 lenses, or I'd have to use speed boosters. It makes it bigger, bulkier. You have to worry about mounts, changing lenses out. You definitely lose autofocus or anything good with autofocus on that. And it's not like autofocus is needed for every shot, but just knowing that I have it, knowing that as soon as I turn on the camera, my subject is already in focus, even if I go and turn it off immediately after that, it's nice to have and it works. The Sigma lenses are focusing quiet and they really do a great job with autofocus on that. So yes, one day, two lenses get me through my entire setup on this run and gun style, and I am literally good from about 24 millimeters up to about 160 millimeters at extremely wide apertures. Yes, I absolutely wish it had 4K recording. I absolutely wish that the image quality had a bit more detail on it. I would have taken some nicer picture profiles out of that. Let's see, what else? Focus peaking would be great to have. However, honestly, when it comes down to it and run and gun style shooting, these are the features that matter to me. Picture profiles, I can shoot pretty much low contrast on that, and it's not a big of an issue. I can get my colors good in post. Skin tones look great out of the camera, so there really isn't the need to go, especially when you're doing wedding stuff where I'm not massively color correcting every shot because I'm coming back with hours and hours of footage. I have a headphone jack, I have a microphone jack. I can adjust both of those levels right from the touchscreen without making any noise on there. And I do have a memory card slot that's very easily accessible on the side. Great battery life performance. 2 would have been nice, little things like that that would have been nice. I don't need focus peaking if I know that my autofocus is going to be good. When I'm manually focused, I can normally pick it out on the screen. And the screen is very bright and very readable in a variety of environments. And so overall, I just kind of wanted to say that as much as we get on the gear, sometimes the gear not being the best when it comes to raw specs like 4K and all of this stuff, that might not be all it is. Sometimes the usability aspect of it is far more important. And that's why cameras like this that I had with me, this is what I use for my back ceremony shot. The quality is much better, the low light performance is much better, but this is not my run and gun camera for this particular one at least. This was, and the reason was I can go with 2 lenses in a bag on my shoulder and a monopod, and I can shoot the entire wedding. I get perfectly good results. That with wide apertures, I am satisfied with this thing at 3200 and I'm shooting at f2. I can basically handle any type of scenario that a wedding can throw at me with that. On this, I have to worry about, I do not have autofocus on that one. I'm manual focus all the time. I'm dealing with focus peaking. Focus peaking is not extremely accurate. Sometimes you get white lines or whatever color you choose on objects that are not completely in focus. I can't pump in and check focus immediately before shooting. Sometimes I need to start recording immediately because the moment is at what's most important. You know, on this camera, I don't ever have to stop recording. I can switch between autofocus, manual focus, change all of my settings all while recording. The most important thing to me when I'm shooting a wedding is hitting the record button as fast as possible and knowing that my subject is going to be captured. I can adjust my mic volumes, recording volumes, all from a touchscreen. I won't make a peep of sound. If something starts out and it's a little overexposed or underexposed or not in focus when I first start, I can change all of that in post. And again, if I want a manual focus, it's one tap on the thing and then I'm now manual focus and I can do whatever I want. And so, yes, I really hope that Canon increases it, but I just want to let you know that this is still an amazing setup for this. Also, these lenses are not that much, so you're talking $800-900 for this and just over $1,000 for that. You know that these 2 lenses together don't even equal even close to the value of this one lens. And so with this entire setup right here is right around $3,000. That's about the body of this. And I have the camera, 2 lenses, and amazing quality for run and gun style shooting. So yeah, that's it. I just kind of wanted to go over this. I'm going to put links for these below. If you want a good solid setup, Canon is still in the game as much as they are losing to the competition when it comes to features. When it comes to pure usability and speed, flow, and Sigma, who is doing amazing. You know what? If it wasn't for Sigma, I would have switched a long time ago. But Sigma is making these cameras do a lot. And Sigma has announced a brand new 24-70 f2.8 that is stabilized. I'm definitely going to be getting that in. I'm excited. That'll be on my 5D Mark IV. They pretty much announced that they're not making lenses anymore for Sony, so that's kind of a negative thing. And their lenses are much more inexpensive typically than the Canon, Sony, Nikon alternatives. And once upon a time, they were not that great quality and you were taking a little bit of a hit when it came to that. But now they are competing on quality. The quality of these lenses is amazing. The build is great. They look great. It looks professional. When I show up with this, nobody is asking, oh, you have some cheap little DSLR. This is a good, solid system in place and great for recording. So, yep, 82 millimeter front end on this one, and then this is, I believe, 72, and so I adapt to that. So I have an ND filter that I use, and then I'll display it on the front there. There it is, 72, yeah. So I have an ND filter, 82 millimeter that I use for this one and can adapt it to this one or just get a 72 and 82 and you'll be fine to go. Tell me your thoughts below. I know that a lot of people are shooting with a variety of different things. Just for another heads up too, my favorite camera for the back of the room is a camera I'm shooting this with. This is a Panasonic G7. You know how much I paid for that? $500. Great sale that I got it on, but $500 with the lens. I put this thing at the back of the ceremony. I can remote operate this camera, focus, change all of my settings straight from my phone. I don't need to be accessing this camera. In fact, right now I'm controlling it from my phone. So right here, I can be changing all of my settings as the day goes on, and I have this recording at the back. Now, I have the GH5 on pre-order because basically it's just on steroids, but I'm just letting you know that sometimes the best setup is not something like this. My style of the run and gun, travel light, and do it quick and effectively and still pull off that shot involves cameras like this and cameras like that. 4K recording on that allows me to pump in. So that's great because that's my back of the ceremony sight. So while I might be pretty wide on that for a safety shot, then I can zoom in a little bit tighter by cropping that 4K down to 1080p signal. And then I'll station other cameras wherever I need to go, or I'll have second videographers shooting that. But that's my setup, and it has been amazing for me and worked extremely well. So it's not always about technology. Sometimes it's about usability, and these are the examples of that. So yeah, tell me your thoughts below. Check out the links below. Subscribe, like, and stay tuned because some awesome stuff is coming out very, very soon.